Good morning, everybody. Let me get my microphone
Good boy,
down here.
that.
Yeah, I should have thought about that before, shouldn't I? So, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's feeling well today. I've spent so much time talking over the last 3 days, I'm losing my voice. So, really, just the one thing that I need at the moment is a voice. Can't record anything until I can sort this out, so I shall be drinking lots of juice. And
But the irony is, if you went to buy soothers or something, people would get suspicious.
yeah,
So,
if I start coughing while I'm there, that would look good, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Yes. So how's everybody doing? How is everybody finding being at home? And we're halfway into our first or second week. Some people will be third week, won't it? For working from home. So how's everybody feeling today? I don't know. So I'm feeling quite positive. I've had quite a few calls with clients this week on various things, and I'm finding that people are fitting into sort of three different brackets or three different pockets. So I was talking to Harry about this earlier, and it kind of fits the way we run the profit path with people in stabilization mode and optimization mode and then in maximization mode. So I find that there are three different mindsets at the moment, and the first one is stabilizing. So people are panicking. They need instant results, instant cost reduction, instant cost deferral, looking at what services can be deferred, what can be stopped, what can be minimised so far as possible, deferring taxes, deferring mortgages, going on payment holidays. And I have noticed with a lot of these payment holidays, before they were saying payment holidays would be added to the end of your term. I was looking at a couple of lenders this morning, and now they're saying payment holidays, some of them are saying payment holidays can be taken, but they'll be spread over the next 3 months after we start getting back to business as normal. So perhaps you might defer March, April, May, but you'll pay all of that in June, July, August. So not necessarily all lenders, but some of them are doing the same. So the question is, what do we do? How are we taking measures just to survive and get our heads around this challenging time that we find ourselves in?
Yeah. And well, that's the kind of the survival side of things, is the stabilization.
Mm.
But then if you're not prepared, obviously, with some lenders who are actually just adding it to, say, the next 3 months after this period has all been completed, you've got to really consider how to then move forward from there, when actually the cash requirements are probably just suddenly going to start catching up. So it's all about optimizing as the next phase. And actually, there's a few people who are in this phase already.
Yeah.
So second stage, it's kind of like a self-preservation. So you've addressed some of the issues you've addressed before, and now you're starting to look at some of the extra things which are available, such as looking for government support, which is available out there. Basically, the plan is to endure the next few weeks, the next few months. And the point to consider here is, what financial resources do we actually need in place to keep going for the next few weeks, next few months? Are there any loans? Are there any grant facilities available? And can we optimize on the resources we have in place? So which staff members, so skeletal staff being a classic example, which staff members do we need to have in place to keep business ticking over?
Yeah.
Which staff members, basically leaning out, which staff members could we think, okay, they could perhaps go on furloughing, these ones could perhaps work from home? And likewise with suppliers, which suppliers do we need to keep in place? Which ones should we prioritize on? And how do we prioritize how the cash is spent out to those various staff members and suppliers? Do we need new systems in place? Because actually, a business and the nature of business is adapting so quickly, we need systems to be able to fulfill all of our business needs. So who do we need to furlough with staff members, if any? Who do we need to keep on? And how are we going to manage that cash? So it's always cash, cash, cash. Cash is king, and prioritizing how we are managing that.
Absolutely. Which then takes us onto our third phase. So we're finding that some of our clients are now starting to think about, how to look forward. And the people that we've been talking to in various other Facebook groups, some of them as we've said, have been looking at, just survival. Some of them are looking at, oh my God, what do I need to do to gear up to move forwards? There's quite a few that are seeing this as a great opportunity. Not glad that it happened, good God no, but it's a great opportunity to revolutionize and evolve the business forward and move forward to the next stage. This is quite possibly the worst case scenario for anyone. This is a situation that none of us ever could have imagined would happen. So how can we, looking forward, how can we serve our clients? How can we move on? We need to start talking to our customers and find out what their biggest needs are, how those needs have changed. And if you haven't started talking to your customers already, start it today. How can you help them move through this crisis? So our objective is to serve our customers. Our objective is to keep our customers in business. If we can help keep our customers in business, we help keep ourselves in business. If we can help keep ourselves in business, then we can help our suppliers, our smaller suppliers particularly, those that are also self-employed, work from home people, how we can keep them going and how we can help support them through this crisis. One of the things that I've been trying to do is think about what skill sets do we need, what tools do we need, and one of these is my website. For example, my website's up and running, it's in place, it's been there for a few years, but in this current climate where everybody's online and the internet traffic is really slow, I'm a bit worried that actually it's going to be the website itself is going to slow down. So I'm going to be contracting a friend of mine to go and have a look at that and spend some time. She's going to bill me for her time, so I'm going to be encouraging her to look at this and to see what we can do to optimize the website and make it work a little bit better. Now, that's just one example of trying to support somebody else in a small business. Another idea that I heard in a different group this morning was, if you can't get to the shops, go to the small shops, go to the little independently run ones that probably aren't as busy, they're not swarming, there's not as much going on in those shops. You're maybe less exposed to anybody else being in those shops at the same time. Maybe you can, wait until other people come out of those shops so that you can go in their shops so that we're all socially distancing ourselves. Perhaps we can use our local milkman to get milk delivered. There's lots of things that we can do if we go back to some of the smaller services, the smaller local services that we probably remember as kids, but we've forgotten about or we don't use anymore because we're so used to going to our local big supermarket. So what can you do personally to help the local small guy, and what can we do in business to help the local small guy so that we all can persevere through this difficult time?
About protecting and supporting those around us. So actually preserving your business is quite a selfless act, because in preserving your business, you're helping retain jobs, you're helping support those suppliers who are in the same situation as us, and likewise you're supporting the customers who have potentially new challenges to face.
Yeah, and I think I'm finding that most of the people I'm talking to, this is still a moment where a time period where we're still all in a bit of shock. I don't think anybody saw this coming and hitting everybody quite as badly as it has, and you see it happening in other countries, and you're feeling for them, you're compassionate for them, but until you start experiencing what they've been through a few weeks ago, the reality for a lot of people hasn't really still quite hit home. Certainly for us as online accountants, this is how we work anyway, the majority of the time. So we're less shell shocked, I think, with the transition and the change in the way people work, because we're kind of used to this. The only difference is that we're doing what we're doing, and you're working from home, Harry, and Tom's working from home. And
Yep.
but
Different four walls.
yeah, it's different four walls, but it's the same process and the same job, isn't it? And we're speaking to people who have never had to do this before, people who are used to being in the outdoors, and people who are used to being face to face with customers, who now have to think differently and work differently just to be able to put food on the table and to be able to keep their businesses going. So it's a really challenging, time, not to wish to keep stating the obvious.
Mm.
So I thought it might be helpful if we told you a little bit about what we're doing to keep our business going and to keep serving our clients. And maybe there's something that you can take from what we're doing that might help you serve your clients in what you're doing. So do you want to take that away, Harry, next bit?
Sure. So the first thing we're doing is we're keeping the accounts up to date. Obviously, if we're talking about managing cash and applying for loans and grants, the accounts are almost certainly going to need to be as up to date as possible so that we can actually apply for funding and grants which are available. So we will be keeping those up to date. We're talking to clients and understanding the needs of basically how this is affecting them, what they're looking for, and of course how we can help. So we're looking at a few aspects. So firstly, keeping them in business. Secondly, keeping us in business as well, because protecting our clients inevitably protects ourselves as well, and keeping our suppliers in business. So there's really basically a ladder effect of protecting everyone there. And of course, paying key / the self-employed suppliers on account as our priority as well, because what you probably find is the larger organisations will likely receive potentially more funding and support from the government, but the individuals perhaps might not be able to access some of the same support quite as easily just yet. So it's basically making sure everyone's protected.
Yeah.
And part of protecting people is keeping everyone informed on the latest updates, so that they're basically prepared for any changes with essentially any government legislation in line with COVID-19, and of course managing cash flow. And that's going to be a really, really key one. So cash flow forecasting, big one for pretty much
Yeah,
every business.
yeah, I think so. So it's going to be sort of two-pronged approach, I think, to cash flow forecasting. So one, um, a lot of entrepreneurs particularly don't think about cash. They make decisions from the balance of their bank account. What they don't do is plan ahead and think about how they're going to manage the cash going forward. And I think we're going to see a huge upsurge of people trying to do more of that. We can provide templates, we can provide video instruction, we can provide one-to-one instruction. So the objective is that we help our clients to learn to manage their own finances more efficiently in a way that they've probably never had to think about this before, and their
Mm.
business finances more efficiently in a way that they've never had to do this before. Because it's not just going to be that short term next 3 months effect, it's going to be the knock on effect of then business back to normal and trying to recover and repay all of the arrears that we all find ourselves in. So things like the VAT, for example, you can defer your VAT payment in the short term, but it ultimately we're going to have to pay this over to HMRC according to the current legislation. So I mean that may change, it may not. I suspect they're still going to want to get paid eventually. There'll just be a longer arrangement term to pay it. I suspect some businesses will go out of business because they won't be able to accommodate that. So it's a case of how do we help them start again and do something different in this, sort of newer world.
And that in turn links in with what we're planning to do as our next course of action,
Yeah.
where we're putting together planning workshops and cash flow forecasting workshops to assist with people's needs in both those elements, because obviously we're looking at tackling issues now, but also it's important to tackle issues moving forward, because as the government's already mentioned, some of these tax payments are simply being deferred, not cancelled altogether.
Yeah.
So we then work out how best to move forward after all of this. And we will be popping up live during the day. So we'll be covering some of the content which HMRC has and the government has been mentioning. And we'll be essentially tackling a single topic, one at a time, so you can see exactly what's happening with a given field. So if you're interested in, say, furloughed staff, that will be a specific content by itself, so you'll be able to see what's going on.
And the reason we're doing that is a so that we can put that into units in this group, so that if you just have a query on one particular type of grant or support, or a project that you want to work on, you can go and find more information about that topic in units. I've changed the type of the Facebook group so it allows us to add training units, and it's effectively like a class, isn't it? So we can then ring fence and categorize things so you can find only the stuff that's relevant to you. Because one of the things, again, I think is really important at the moment is we're all going to be super busy trying to do all this new stuff. You haven't got time to keep watching long Facebook lives throughout the day and long trainings. You want to get to the point as quickly as possible. Another reason to do it in short bursts is because that allows us then to repurpose that content. So we can deliver that content to you in the group. We can then also stick it on a blog post and send an update out to our clients. So if we have clients in particular that might just be interested in furloughed workers, we can give them an update on furloughed workers. It means we can provide a blog post on furloughed workers and have a description and a blog about that, and then have it linked to a video on YouTube. So what I'm trying to think about is how to take that same content and repurpose it in multiple ways. And if we can do that as accountants, who we're reasonably tech savvy, but you can do that. So what can you do to serve your clients? What can you do to add to a blog post? What kind of things are all these people that are going to be stuck at home going to be Googling, and how can you write a blog or record a video that will serve that purpose and that client and bring them into your world so that you can convert them to paying clients? So you'll see us popping up all throughout the day. We've got to go away and run the rest of our payrolls now. Once that's done, you'll see us popping back. Don't feel obliged to watch us. Don't feel obliged to comment. That's not what we're expecting. We're just literally going to be recording a whole load of content for everybody for the rest of the day, and possibly tomorrow as well, although tomorrow's supposed to be on a virtual summit, so it might not be.
my tomorrow might be quite busy as well, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, tomorrow all of a sudden becomes a lot more fluid than it ever has been before, because you just never know what each day is going to bring now. Everything's moving so quickly, and it's all changed so much, hasn't it? So that's enough from me and Harry today. We will see you later on during the day, quite a lot hopefully, if we get our acts together and don't take any or too many client calls. And we will see you soon. Bye for now.